Okay, like I said, tonight we are going to look into waterfall project management methodology and PRINCE2 methodology. So these are the two we'll try to look at this night. Yeah, I'll start presenting. So we've concluded agile project management, and I believe we don't have any question regarding that, because if we have any question, I believe you should have contacted me via our WhatsApp group. So what is this waterfall methodology in project management? So waterfall methodology is a sequential project management approach that divides the project's life cycle into distinct phases, with each phase completed before moving to the next phase. The phases typically include requirement gathering and analysis, design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. And each phase relies on the deliverable produced by the previous phase. So that's why we call it waterfall, because it's flowing like the name was derived from the roofing, the way water flows from the roofing. So the water keep flowing down from the roof. That's why that name waterfall. So meaning that you must, looking at this diagram, starting from this requirement gathering and analysis, you have to finish that before you start design. So you have to finish designing before you start implementation. You have to finish implementation before you have to start testing, and then maintenance. And that is what we call dependency. It's highly based on dependency. So all of them are dependent on the previous stage. So when this first stage is delayed, it will automatically cause a chain reaction that will delay all the other stages. And that's why we're always very careful while working within this agile, waterfall project management. So that's why if you see when we are talking about a critical path method, this is this delay we are talking about. In critical path method, we need to look at all the dependable areas that are depending on each other. These are the critical path areas that doesn't need to be delayed, because when they get delayed, they will delay the whole project. So that is the way the waterfall operates, and is rigid, unlike agile approach, where you can start work. Agile is very flexible. Once the sprint starts, all the items that is in the sprint, you can start from anywhere. You don't need to start from the top, unlike what we have here in a waterfall. So what are the key phases of this waterfall approach. The first phase of waterfall is that you need to capture requirement and analyze requirement. That is requirement gathering and analysis. You can call it data collection as well. This requirement gathering, there are so many names. We call it here in the industry. We call it requirement gathering. We call it requirement elicitation. We call it data collection. Whichever one, or which, when we hear any of these names, you know that is called the requirement gathering. And after requirement gathering, then the analysis follows. In the requirement gathering phase, the project stakeholders define and document project objectives, scopes, and the requirements. The requirements are typically gathered through interview, workshop, and documentation review, and serve as the foundation for the subsequent project phases. So requirement gathering is very, very important in projects. These are the key functions of business analysts. It's the duty of business analysts to go in and gather the requirements and do the analysis. So it's very important you work with the stakeholders. That is the reason why we have to understand the stakeholders. We need to do stakeholder analysis in order to understand the stakeholders and their expectation. So that is the reason we are doing that, because it's from the stakeholders. The stakeholders here, we have different types of stakeholders. We have high influence stakeholders or project sponsors. We have customers or end users. We have external stakeholders. We have internal stakeholders. So there are so many types of stakeholders. We've done stakeholder management and analysis. So when the requirement gathering and analysis is finished, then we move to solution design. We call it solution design. During the requirement gathering stage, the business analyst collect the requirement, analyze the requirement, and then draft a business case to justify the reason why the project should go on. And once that is approved, the next thing is to proceed to start designing the solution. That is where, after requirement gathering, we proceed to solution design according to this waterfall approach. So in this design phase, the project team developed detailed specification and architectural plan based on the requirement gathered in the previous phase. The design phase often include activities such as system architecture design, user interface design, database design. All these architecture design comprises of both user stories and acceptance criteria. These are where you do the design. In business analysis, this stage is called technical, is being done by technical business analysts. Is the stage when the business analyst is now translating the business requirements into technical requirement. And in first stage, the requirement collected is called business requirements. They collect the business requirement. That is then the need of the business from the business leaders. We call it business requirement. You analyze it. At that stage, it's still a business requirement. And when you come to stage 2, which is design, then you start translating this business requirement into technical requirement. Why are you translating it into technical requirement? Developers can only consume the requirement when it's translated into technical requirement. So it's the duty of the business analyst to translate from business requirement to technical requirement, and then from technical requirement to business requirement. So once it's translated into technical requirement, the developers will then start working on that at the implementation stage to configure or develop all this code, and it becomes a feature. Once it becomes a feature, then it has gone back to the business requirements. Then within that stage, you will now have to, during the demonstration stage, you are now trying to demonstrate what the developers did within the technical stage into which has been translated into business use. So that is what the business analyst does at this stage. So you can see a business analyst doing a lot of technical, a bit technical, more technical than the project manager. But the project manager's job here is to, monitor, supervise, track, making sure that all the work is being done within the acceptable quality and within the time and within the budget. So in these two stages, the first stage, requirement gathering analysis, the business analyst is called business analyst. And the business analyst within the second stage is called technical business analyst. When you'll be looking for a job, you understand what I'm talking. You see there's a lot of jobs, you'll be seeing technical business analysts required. Technical business. So it means that you must have the knowledge for this architectural plan, all this architectural design, all this user interview, all this database. You must have that technical knowledge. Some business analysts, you find out in so many big organizations, all you need to do is just to be capturing business requirements and analyzing them. And another business analyst will be just designing the business requirements, making them ready for implementation. So let's move to the next stage called implementation stage. The implementation stage is the implementation phase. The project team translates the designed specification into executable code or tangible deliverable. Tangible deliverable here means features. It now becomes a feature in the product. Okay, let me give you an example here using this software we are using. This software you are seeing here, Google Doc, I'm using to present now. We call it Google Doc. It's an alternative to Microsoft Word. It's a software. You can equally call it a product of Google. It's one of their products. They have so many products. Like here, if you're looking at this, my browser, you can see I'm using 5 Google products. Number 1 product of Google I'm using is this Google Doc. Then number 2 product of Google I'm using is this Google Meet. We are using to, have this conference or this workshop. Then number 3 Google product is called Google Calendar. It's a product. Then another product here is Google Drive for storage facilities. Another Google product is here, Gmail. You can see they are all called products. Within a product, we have different features in all the products. So that is it. So in this particular Google product called Google Doc, we have different features. Number one feature here is file. You can see file here. We have edit, we have view, we have insert, we have format tool and help. They all, then if you come down again, you see all these icons. They are all features called user stories. They are user stories. Then if you click on this particular file, there are so many user stories as well. If you click on it, you see there, you see new, you see open, you see copy. They are all called user stories. So these are the requirements. So from the initial stage, which is requirement gathering, the business analyst will capture this where I will use this help. For instance, the customers will say while they are using this Google Doc, they find a lot of challenging situation and they don't know how to resolve issue. They would like a situation where there will be, when they see a challenging situation, they need a help that can help them to self-help, kind of self-help. So within this help, you find out there's a lot of articles that will help you to troubleshoot without even contacting Google. So if you click on this, you see a lot of trouble help. You see here training, or you see all this training here. This training will take you to a lot of articles that will help you to troubleshoot any kind of problem you are having using this Google Doc without contacting anybody. If you read it very well and follow the guide, it will help you. So it's now, before it is captured here, is a requirement. So when they capture this requirement as a help to help a customer resolve or troubleshoot as a self-help, is called business requirement. Before it's been built here, it's called business requirement. So at that time, they capture it and analyze it. It becomes a requirement. So during the design, the business analyst will translate it into a user story. This will become a user story. And the user story will sound, as a user, I want a help so that once I have a problem, I should be able to troubleshoot the system myself. That's the way user stories sound. From there, when the user story is being translated from just help to this user story, once the developer reads that user story, the developer should be able to understand what the business leaders want. And then with that, the developer will start implementing. That is when they start building it and translating it into executable, I'll highlight, into executable code and tangible deliverable. So that is how we build all these softwares we are seeing everybody is using. So and into a tangible deliverable. Tangible deliverable is now this feature here. You can see it is now tangible, meaning that you can see it is visible now. You can click on it and you can use it to deliver a piece of work within this particular product. So that is the sequence. You see the capture, design, implement. So you cannot implement without design. That is the way waterfall. You see the way it is flowing like a water falling from the roof. So the implementation phase involves coding, programming, configuration, customizing, and integration of software components and system. Like I say, this is part of a big component, a small component of this big software. You see software component. And I said this software, you can use software or you can use product. And then whichever way is the same thing. And once that is done, we start testing. We need to test to make sure that it's working before we deploy it to the production environment where everybody can now use it. We have two types of environment in software development. The first environment is dev environment. You have to be cramming or understanding these keywords I'm using, because now gradually you are becoming a business analyst, you are becoming a project manager, you are becoming a software engineer, and these are keywords we are going to be using. So after testing in dev environment is developer environment where the developers are working. You remember that I said during our business analysis, during our agile approach, where we say even the developers are business analysts, are developers, are programmers. So that environment, dev environment, is where we do the coding, where we do the programming, where we do the configuration, customization, integration, that environment. Using, there's other software we use to do all these things. So, and after all this coding, configuration, testing, customization, all this piece of work, all the user stories, they all need to be tested one by one before they can be deployed to production environment. Once it's out of production environment and deployed to out of developer environment and deployed to production environment, that is where all of us will start using it. An example of production environment is Google Play Store, where we can go and download and play. All these browsers, they are all production environments where we can click, search, and put a website, it starts working. They all, as long as the end users can use that software, the software is in production environment. There are so many softwares on the cloud. We are not seeing it because it has not been released. Once it's released, everybody will start seeing it. So many of them are there waiting for approval for release. They have been built, tested, and ready for deployment. This is how so many of all these organizations, if you go to Facebook, they might have so many features that are ready, but they don't want to release it now yet. So that is how all this work. After testing, we test. In the testing phase, the project team verify and validate the functionality, performance, and quality of the product or project deliverable. Testing activities may include unit testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing, and regression testing. These are various testing that need to be conducted. Unit testing means when you are testing a small unit of a software, like this help here. After building a help, it can be tested on its own to make sure that it's working. And by that time, it's not even integrated into the main feature. So once it's working, then we need to integrate it into the main. We need to add it to this bigger software. So that is what we call integration testing. We integrate it into this. After the integration, then we need to test making sure that it didn't break any code. And then after then, it becomes part of the system. After integration, we need to test the system again. What is the system? The system is the whole software, the whole of this Google Doc. Because in some cases, after integrating a component into the bigger system, there might be a break of code or something might happen that will even stop the whole system from working. It's just like you're a mechanic, you might go to the mechanic to change a plug. After changing the plug successfully, the car will even refuse to start, meaning that it has affected the whole vehicle. So that's what we call system testing. You need to test the whole system to make sure that it's working. All these things are done within the developer environment. After testing all these things within the developer environment and everything is working, then it's time to call external party, which is not even part of the project team, to come and test. The person is like the person who is going to use that software for everyday use. The person will come and test it the way the person needs to use it to do his work or her work. And after testing it and it's working, then it means that it's ready for deployment. That is user acceptance testing. After user acceptance testing and it did not pass user acceptance testing, we'll detect the bug. Bug is called error in code or mistake. The layman language is mistake. But in technical or in developer environment, we call it bug. So we find if the user after testing and is not working, the team will find out what's wrong, which is they fish out the bug and then go and fix the bug. We call it debugging. After debugging, then we'll come back for another test called regression testing to make sure that it's working after debugging. And once it's then working after regression testing, then you'll be ready for deployment. And you can see after testing, you can't deploy without all these series of tests. So you see the way it's sequenced and the dependency on each other. So that is waterfall for you. And then we come to deployment. In the deployment phase, the project team releases the complete project deliverable to the end users or customers and transition the project from development environment to production environment. Deployment activities may include installation, configuration, training, and user support. So this is how we deploy it. Some of the way to deploy can be installation. It can be through configuration. And after that, we equally need to train the people that are going to use it very well. And other user support that will be going on regular basis. And after deployment, it does not end there. Now the system is now in the production environment for use. But as we know, system is a system. It requires maintenance. As people are using that system, it's receiving tear and wear. At times, there's something will happen and activity will happen and a code will be broken. So, and somebody will need to go fix the code. That's why at times you see troubleshooting, you find out there is a break in a code or something like that. So, or maybe there is need for updates. These are part of the maintenance. So as long as a system is in use, for instance, this particular Google Doc, there is constant maintenance. At times you want to use a system or use a browser, it will say update. You cannot use it until you update it. So this is part of the maintenance. So during the maintenance, a new feature can be deployed, or a broken code can be patched. We'll call it patching. So in maintenance phase, the project team provide ongoing support, maintenance, enhancement to the project deliverable to address issues, bugs, change requests reported by user. Maintenance activities may include bug fixes, patches, updates, and enhancement to improve product performance and reliability. So these are the various stages, call it end-to-end, or the project or product or software life cycle. It's called project life cycle. So these are the full project life cycle in waterfall methodologies. Then, having captured this, let's look at the benefits of this waterfall methodology. Number one is clear and structured project progression through predefined phases. Well-defined requirement and deliverable at each phase. Okay, explaining these two benefits. Number one is a clear and structured project progression. Yes, it's very clear. So even if you are a newcomer or a new entrant in the software development, you know what to do next, because you see the way it's flowing. You see the arrow, you see the next thing to do, you just keep it structured. It's well-defined requirements and deliverables. That's why Agile always complaining of extensive documentation. Well-defined requirement and delivery. The deliverable is highly documented. And one thing Agile is saying that a working software is better than a comprehensive documentation, because after all this documentation and the software is not working, it doesn't mean anything. So that's critics from Agile anyway. Number three is suitable for projects with stable and predictable requirements. So you see, it's not good for project in complex environments like Agile, which is very perfect for product in complex environment. So it's not that you can use this particular approach for software development very well. You can use it, but the best for software development is Agile, because Agile is a complex environment. And yeah, you say that Agile is very good for software for project in a complex environment like software development. Number four here is that it is easy to understand and manage for stakeholders unfamiliar with Agile practice. So if your stakeholders are not very familiar with Agile practice, this is the easiest way for everybody, because you see the way it's flowing like a water. Looks so stable, not complex at all, unlike Agile. But it comes with different challenges as well. Number one challenge is limited flexibility to accommodate changing requirements or priorities. Once a project charter has been approved for the project, before any requirements need to be added, it must go through proper documentation and scrutinization. Unlike Agile, the product owner can capture requirement and drop it, and it will be incorporated. Limited stakeholder involvement and feedback until late the project lifecycle. So here, if you are working on a project, and like I said, yes, there should be a report. In most cases, you find out that the stakeholder, the project team or the project manager reports to the stakeholders maybe once every week or twice every week. You need to submit the project status report. By the time this is happening, it might be late. Or in some cases, the team will not even report until they finish building the software. And that's when they will have to then hand over or demonstrate to the stakeholders. At that stage, they might find out there is a gross error and it's too late. Unlike Agile, that have a lot of events, like daily events where they look at what they are doing on daily basis to capture and adapt, inspect and adapt, look for challenges, look for risk. There's a lot of avenues. But in this particular waterfall, we do not have a lot of that stakeholder involvement. So limited stakeholder involvement and feedback until late in the project is a problem, is an issue. High risk of project failure if requirements are misunderstood or misinterpreted. Yeah, because when there is a misinterpretation of requirements, it might take time to correct, because by the time the team will be reporting the software that is being delivered or come up with a tangible project that will deliver to the stakeholders, it might be too late. Unlike Agile, that they build small software and keep on bringing it to the stakeholders to inspect. In this case, they don't build in small shipments. They build the whole software and then deploy for inspect and by that time you find out that you build the whole software and there is a gross mistake. That is a very big risk. Then number 4, difficulty in adapting to unexpected challenges during the project execution, which we've already spoken about. So it's difficult. These are all these things from 1 to 4 is pointing towards the same direction. There are rigidity and high risk. So that is it. So in conclusion, waterfall methodology offers a structured and sequential approach to project management suitable for projects within stable and well understood requirements. While waterfall methodology provides clarity and predictability in project progression, it may lack the flexibility, adaptability required to address rapid changing business environment and evolving customer need. And this is where the Agile comes in. This is where Agile took over. Because of this limitation, Agile took over from waterfall approach. And that's why so many companies today are migrating from waterfall to agile environment because of this. Because all of us can agree that today's business is not like yesterday's business. Today's business is on a high lane. You know, if you are not, if you don't have a strong heart, you cannot be in today's business, more especially digital business. Everything is moving very fast. You must, that's why you see so many people that is surviving today's business. All of them are developers. They are not waiting for anybody to come and help them, because before you might be waiting to recruit the right personnel and this and that. Some of them, like what I do this day, before I can, a lot of things I can fix them, might because I'm a developer, you know. So I don't need to wait for a lot of things to be done for me. And that's why I've been able to start doing small business in digital environment. But if you don't have that skills, then you must have the money, you know, because I don't have that kind of money to pay business analysts for maybe to work for me for two months, and I'll be paying them 600 pounds a day. That's a lot of money. Some you can, for 6 months contract, you pay them 500 pounds a day. So if you don't have the skills, then you pay a lot of money. So today's business is really on a changing environment, is evolving, and knowing that customers today knows their rights, they know that they are the king, and they have so many alternatives. So it makes things difficult for the people in the business, and you have to work hard to satisfy your customer. So waterfall is not good for this kind of environment, because you need to respond quickly to changes, respond quickly to customers' appetite. Their appetite is so, you know, evolving these days. For instance, looking at everybody uses social media. Any small thing, everybody will migrate to Twitter. Any small thing, they will migrate to Instagram. So that is how the need are. Customers today using e-commerce, any little negative review, everybody will migrate from Amazon to eBay. Any small little bad review from eBay, or any little discount in another another e-commerce, everybody will just move. So this is the way the business environment is today. And they don't need a rigid business people don't need a rigid project approach that will not allow them to respond quickly to all these customers' need. So, having concluded on waterfall, it's time for us to look at PRINCE2 methodology. So what is PRINCE2 methodology? So I know you might have a question, but I will suggest you keep writing your questions. All the questions you need to ask in waterfall, write them down, so that as soon as we are done, I can take the whole questions together, both from PRINCE2 and waterfall. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah.
What is this PRINCE2? PRINCE2 is what we call projects in controlled environment. That is the full meaning of PRINCE2. You see, that is the full meaning of PRINCE. 2 is the second version of this project in because they keep on refining, and so it's called, you see, PR is for project, IN is for in, C here is for controlled, and E here is for environment. So we call it project in controlled environment. It's a structured project management methodology developed by the UK government to provide a common framework for managing projects effectively. So this is a work of UK government, and that is why so many it used to be popular. I have to be honest with you. Here in UK, you can't do anything before without, everything is just PRINCE2. You must get PRINCE2 certified. Every time, you cannot even be on site, call yourself before. But today, so many companies are beginning to dump PRINCE2 for agile approach. So PRINCE2 is based on seven principles, themes, and processes that guide project planning, execution, and control throughout the project life cycle. Then what are the principles and the themes? We'll look at key principles, and then we'll look at the themes. These principles and themes are the pillar that hold PRINCE2. So these are the principles, because anything about UK government is about principles, regulation, this and that. So there's a lot of kind of regulation within PRINCE2. So let's look at these principles in PRINCE2. Continued business justification. You know, UK government, they don't like waste. That's one thing. Anybody in UK should understand that. And in project environment, they don't want it. And that's why this PRINCE2 is being developed to help reduce this waste in project management. So what do I mean by they don't like waste? A project must be continued to be, bringing value, continue business justification. And that is what the business case is all about. A business case is to justify that a project is bringing a value. The value must be, stated, quantified. It must be quantified, and that's why very soon we'll look at business analysis. I love business analysis so much. A lot of people are scared of business because there's a lot of technicalities, but that is where the main thing are happening. Project management is good, but you are just there to monitor, track, but the business analyst is doing the real, hands-on job. So during the business analysis, the business analyst need to develop a business case. The business case is to justify that the project is bringing value. You must do that. You must make a recommendation based on the cost and the benefits analysis. You must analyze, you must convince the stakeholders that the benefits of this project is bigger than the cost. So you must remove the cost from the benefit to get the net value. The net value must be positive before a project must continue. When the net value is negative, there is no justification in being in that project because that project does not bring any value. We call it feasibility studies. In another term, can call it feasibility, and that one means viability of the project. So if the project is no longer viable, there is no need for you to continue to be on that project, and that's what the PRINCE2 is preaching, using this number one principle called continued business justification. So let's continue with the rest of the statement. PRINCE2 projects must have a valid business case that justifies that the investment of resources and effort. The business case outlines the expected benefit, cost, risk, and return associated with the project. With all these itemized keywords, looking at benefits and costs, you must, at the end of this analysis, remove this cost from the benefit. If you remove the cost from the benefit, then we are going to see what we call net benefit. Net benefits need to be either negative or positive. Once the net benefit is positive, then there is value, there is justification, there is viability on that project. And it must continue to be viable. As you are working on the project, anytime the project stops being viable, there is no need to be in that project, according to PRINCE2. Okay, the number 2 principle is learn from experience. And that's why in UK government, they don't play with this approach of a lesson learned. Lesson learned is a key tool in project management, meaning that the project team can leverage on the experience of the past projects to avoid mistakes. They must, looking at similar projects conducted in the past, they will see all the bumps that particular project must have passed through and then avoid it. So there should be documentation of lesson learned in today's. If you are managing project today, it's advisable. Like I've spoken about lesson learned techniques. At least every week, the team must come together to look at what they are doing, call it lesson learned, and document what they've learned, what is going well and what is not going well. It is even captured in agile environment through what we call sprint retrospective. It's a time to inspect and adapt. We call that is lesson learned. It's very important. So PRINCE2 encourages project team to learn from the past project, both successes and failures, and apply lesson learned to improve project planning and execution. Then number 3 principle, define roles and responsibilities, like we've done already. All these things, we've done that already. We've done what we call RACI metrics, where we learn how to define roles and responsibilities in projects. You know, we've done this, and Mr. George, this thing is echoing, so I will have to, put all of you on mute. Yeah. So, so like I was saying, the number 3, defining roles and responsibilities, we've done RACI metrics where we can capture roles and responsibilities, and that will give everybody the understanding of what they stand to do, what is their responsibility, their accountability in a project. According to PRINCE2, is a statutory activity that must be done, so that everybody will understand their role and everybody will understand their accountability in the project. So Prince2 defines clear roles and responsibility for stakeholders, including the project board, project managers, team managers, and project support roles, ensuring accountability and ownership. Then manage by stage. Agile waterfall equally apply this manage by stage. Prince2 divides projects into life cycle. Project life cycle into manageable stages known as management stages, with defined objective deliverables and review points. Each stage must be planned, monitored, and controlled to ensure progress quality. Then manage by exception. Manage by exception empowers the project managers to make day-to-day decisions within predefined tolerance, but requires escalation to higher authorities if tolerance are exceeded or issue arises that cannot be resolved within the project manager's authority. So it is this Prince2 among the project management methodology that empowers project managers, and project manager becomes so powerful, so authoritative, so bossy. And these are some of the actions that the agile project management is criticizing, that it makes it uncomfortable for the project team to have a good rapport with the project manager, and that's why they come up with their own project manager to become a servant leader called Scrum Master. So the manage by exception you see is, as in that particular project, the project manager have got authority even to fire and even higher. So the project manager have got authority in Prince2, so much authority. So the sixth principle is focus on product. So Prince2 emphasizes the importance of defining and managing project deliverable known as product throughout the project life cycle. Product must be defined, approved, and delivered according to the predefined quality and standard. You see here, they have some similarity with the Agile. Agile talk about product. Agile talk about the product backlog. And here you can see, and in product backlog, you see that all the user stories in product backlog have acceptance criteria. And now we look at Prince2 equally talking about a product. And the product must have a predefined quality criteria and standard. And as a matter of fact, every project deliverable must have a predefined quality criteria and standard. So the seventh is to tailor suit the project environment. Prince2 is adaptable and scalable, allowing organizations to tailor its principal themes and process to suit the specific need, complexity, and context of individual projects. So at this point, you see Prince2 is beginning to narrow down to become a bit of agile by trying to understand some of the specific need, complexities, and then try to adapt to such environment. So you see Prince2 is a bit like today's Prince2. It has been going through a lot of modification. You know, there is this body called Azelos. They have been developing a lot of theories, a lot of project management frameworks. They have been trying. I think they are the people that developed this PRINCE2 for UK government. They have been modifying this PRINCE2. You see, PRINCE2 these days is more like they weave PRINCE2 with Agile. They brought the best of kind of PRINCE2 and brought the best of Agile, trying to weave it together. They'll be working hard to make PRINCE2 still very much relevant. Then let's look at the themes of PRINCE2. Themes here are key subject matters within PRINCE2, such as business case. Business case is a very important topic in PRINCE2 because the business case is what will continue to decide if a project is still viable. So business case ensure that the projects remain aligned with organizational objective and deliver value to stakeholders, and will continue to be, viable. We've talked about business case already during, so we are not going to talk so much about business case. We already know what business case is all about, trying to justify the viability of a project. So number 2 of PRINCE2's theme is organization. Defining clear role responsibilities and reporting structure for stakeholders. We already talk about this being organized. We even see how we can use racing metrics to achieve this organization. Clear roles and responsibilities. It must be organized in such a way that everybody knows what they stand to do. No finger pointing. It reduces confusion within project because everybody knows their role. Everybody knows who is accountable for every deliverable. Then quality. Establish quality criteria, standard, and processes to ensure that project deliverable meets stakeholders' expectation. We've captured that already. Is very, very key in PRINCE2. There must be a quality standard or control standard. In Agile, we call it acceptance criteria, which is very key. That acceptance criteria is what we use to test every deliverable in Agile environment. Each user story must be tested against the acceptance criteria before it can be accepted by the business analyst. Then plan. Developing comprehensive plan to guide project execution, monitoring, and control. According to PRINCE2, there must be a good project plan. In Agile does not have project plan as a comprehensive project plan. All they need to do is just capture requirement into product backlog, and from product backlog they start refining it. But in PRINCE2 you must have a project plan, which we use Gantt chart, we use all these project management software like Microsoft Project, Project Labor, Primavera. These are project management tools we use to plan our project. According to PRINCE2, it's very important we have a project plan, and that's why we've already have good knowledge of how to plan and come up with a good project plan. It's very, very key. Risk. We must know how to identify, assess, mitigate project risk to minimize the impact on the project objective. We've seen how to use RAID activity or RAID log to capture and manage project risk. So according to PRINCE2 is key. Then change. We've talked about change management both in the whole project change management and the scope change management. Managing changes to project scope, requirement, and deliverable to ensure alignment with stakeholders' need and expectation. We've discussed how to use how to capture change in scope in an ongoing project. Yes, we know that PRINCE2 and even Waterfall, they struggle when it comes to change, but change must be captured. We know that in projects, there must always be change. But how do we manage this change is the problem. We've discussed how to capture a change, set up a committee to evaluate the change we captured, and make a proportionate budget for every change we are capturing. One must make a budget to capture a change. And that is the best way we can accept change within an ongoing scope. And then have a new baseline when a change is captured. We discussed this earlier on when we were talking about change management. Then progress. Monitoring and reporting project progress against the baseline, schedule, budget, and quality criteria. We discussed how it is very, very important for monitoring and reporting. And if you know how to use all these project management software, when you are planning a project, when you are creating a project plan, you have a baseline. Before you can start any project, you must baseline your budget, your timeline, so that if there is a change, then you need to create a different baseline. You can have up to more than 3 or 4 different, I think 3 baseline. We can have up to 3 or 4 baseline as long as it's well captured in a project. But a project must be baseline. When there is alteration in the original plan, then the new baseline must emerge. So according to PRINCE2, there is need for baselining in project planning to track the schedule, the budget, and the quality criteria. Then let's look at processes in PRINCE2. The first is starting a project. We start a project through initiating the project, defining its objective, scope, and approach, and appointing project management team. 2, directing a project, providing oversight and governance for the project, including authorizing project initiation, approving stage plan, and monitoring the project progress. Number 3, initiating a project, establishing a detailed project plan, including the business case, project management approach, and project initiation document. Number 4, controlling a stage, monitoring and controlling project progress, managing issues and risks, and reviewing stage performance against plan objectives. Number 5, managing project delivery. Managing the project development and delivery of project product according to the predefined quality criteria and standard. Number 6, managing stage boundary, reviewing project progress, updating plan, obtaining approval to proceed to the next management stage, which is very, very key. Like what we're doing, that's why it's important that we know how to, document our status so that every week as a good project manager working within Waterfall or PRINCE2, you must, well, it depends on, but the way I've been doing it or where I've been working, we have what we call weekly status reports, where you report every deliverables, and it must be approved. If you are working within this environment, either PRINCE2 or Waterfall, the deliverable must be approved before you can then move to the next stage. So the project manager will always report to the program manager or senior project manager. You must have someone you are reporting to. The person must at least review and approve what you have done, your deliverable, before you can move to the next stage. Closing a project. Formalizing project closure, reviewing project outcome, capturing lesson learned, and handing over project deliverables to stakeholders. So these are 7 stages or 7 processes you pass through while managing a project using PRINCE2. And what are the key benefits of PRINCE2? Number 1, provide a common framework and language for managing projects effectively. Number 2, emphasizes continuous business justification and stakeholder engagement. Number 3, promote clear rules, responsibilities, and accountabilities for project stakeholders. Number 4, flexible and adaptable to suit various project types, size, and context. Number 5, encourages learning from past projects and applying lessons learned to improve project outcome. It equally comes with its own challenges. These are some of the captured challenges of PRINCE2. Requires formal documentation and governance processes, which can be time-consuming and bureaucratic. Number 2, may not be suitable for projects with high uncertainty or rapid changing requirements. Number 3, requires relies heavily on upfront planning and may struggle to accommodate evolving project needs and priorities. Number 4, requires training and certification for project managers and team members to effectively implement PRINCE2 practices. Like here in UK, they always talk about PRINCE2 certification, and because then it was very, very popular. Everybody is looking for PRINCE2 certification. You cannot even talk of being a project manager if you're not PRINCE2 certified. That was like around 2008, 2009. It was very hot. I remember then I wanted to, write my certification then, although I didn't, didn't do it. But I'm still Agile has taken over, and today nobody is talking about all this certification again. Though some people are still looking for it, but it becomes so kind of challenges, become a challenge to so many people trying to delve into project management, and the cost of certification because of the need becomes very high then. So, conclusively, PRINCE2 methodology offers a structured and process-based approach to project management, providing organizations with a flexible and adaptable framework for managing projects effectively. By embracing PRINCE2 principles, themes, and processes, organizations can improve project governance, stakeholder engagement, and project success rate, ultimately delivering value to stakeholders and achieving project objectives. So PRINCE2 is more flexible than Waterfall. You can say that, but it's still considered as a structured approach to project management. When we are comparing it with agile is very flexible and gives you a lot of room to improve and expect and adapt. So this is where we are bringing project management training to an end. If you have question, I'll take your question. The next thing in this project management is to do the practical hands-on experience, which is coming very soon, but we need to have a quick dive into business analysis because we have some business analysts with us, people who want to major in business analysis and not only project management. So we need to quickly dive into business analysis and then before diving into our hands-on project. But just like I said, with this training, I encourage everybody to start applying for project coordinator role, project support officer role. At this point, we'll try to come up with a CV template that will help you to do that, so that we'll have to start testing the market as we are progressing to become a project manager and a business analyst. Let's be trying out these supportive roles, because with what we have now, we're highly qualified to apply for a project coordinator or a project support officer. So now I'm ready to take questions if you've got any question.
Thank you for the lesson so far. It's very, very quite interesting and informative. This time, I want to ask my question, sir.
Okay.
When you started this project management methodologies, Waterfall and PRINCE2, at the beginning you mentioned that a delay in one causes delay in the other because of the building arrangement.
Yes.
It's like a waterfall. So I got a bit confused there. I didn't really get what you said, that a delay in something causes a delay in others.
Yes, if you have followed us when we're looking at it's because you have not watched some of our videos. In some of our videos, we've treated Gantt charts, we've treated critical path analysis, and we've seen how to do project planning. While planning a project, you need to add all the timeline, all the deliverable, the start date, so you have planned everything. And all these working within Waterfall, so many of them are dependent on each other. So for instance, if you have planned that it's going to take 2 days to deliver all the deliverables, and you've allotted 2 days to all of them, you find out that if you miss 2 days and delayed, and then if a deliverable is now taking you 3 or 4 days, you can say that it's now delaying other activities. And that other activities might be other team members that are going to work on that. because we have different team members working. Some people might be waiting for activity A to finish or a business analyst to finish before they take over from business. So if a business analyst delays their own deliverable, automatically you are delaying another person from starting their own work. And it can cause a knock-on effect, a chain reaction that can trigger and derail the project in terms of timeline. And when the timeline is delayed, it's affecting the budget because you need to keep paying the team members, even if they are not doing anything, because it's not their fault. And if you are paying them and they are not doing anything, the budget is draining. So you are moving out of your budget as well. You see the reaction for delay.
Yes.
So when all this is causing, you, the project manager, start struggling because you are moving out of your budget and you are moving out of your timeline. If you cannot control this, that is how you derail from the project, you overrun the cost, you overrun the timeline. And this is the major thing you are being employed to do as a project manager, to keep the project on track within the budget and within the timeline.
It's understood.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other question?
No, sir, for now. No other question for now.
Okay.
There may be a question by tomorrow or next, but for now, there is no question.
Okay, no problem. So I am hoping it's important to start from because you missed a lot, which you need to catch up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, so many of us are not in this call tonight. I don't know why, but this is quite important. What we are doing today is important because although I'll still put it in writing in our WhatsApp forum so that you guys will understand, we are moving to business analysis, and it's important you start trying your best by applying so that we'll see the challenges some of you will face, and I will have time to address it while you guys are still within the program. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.